What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Hal, and with the advent of 7 stars on the way, I wanted to take some time to look at 5 of the most underlooked and undervalued 7-star units that you may or may not have access to when 7 stars come. You might not have like the most hyped 7 stars, all of the meta changers, but there's some units that are pretty strong, and I think they're getting a little undervalued. So let's start it in today, guys. We're gonna go with the first one of the show today, and that one's going to be Kunshira, the good old girl, the hybrid unit who's currently outclassed by Frivia quite a bit, because Frivia has enhancements, Kunshira does not have enhancements. Frivia has higher multipliers than Kunshira does, better chains, all this fun stuff. So, well, I'm not going to go over all of her skills that she has access to right now, but she's got the Thundaja, Waterja, fire, single target hybrid attacks, and formation 5.5 multiplier hybrid attacks as well. Okay, so Kunshira right now, she's got a lot of different elements, but the multiplier for being a hybrid 5.5 does not do enough. Now, if we go down to her 7-star skills here, she will get a new skill, 11 times multiplier, 30 hit wind AoE. All right, this is strong, first and foremost. That's awesome. She's going to have a decent multiplier. I think Frivia's is 12. Kunshira's going to have an 11 times multiplier, and it's going to be wind. Now, on top of that, she's going to get a couple more skills that are pretty interesting. She's got this skill here. Her first cooldown skill, 100% defense and spirit buff, and then 100% fire, lightning, water, wind, and light resistance for 3 turns. Okay, for your whole party. It's on a 6-turn cooldown, so you can have it up full time, but it is a very nice utility skill to have. Defense and spirit buffs and like a bunch of different elemental resistances that you can become immune to. So that's awesome. So some super insane utility. Now, she also has access to an AoE 70% defense and spirit break for 3 turns with a 70% AoE fire, lightning, water, wind, and light resistance and peril for 3 turns on a 5-turn cooldown as well, available on turn 1. So she become a very strong defense and spirit breaker, make your team do a bunch of damage, and then on top of that, she's got a very nice elemental resistance buff with the defense and spirit buff as well. That's not all. There's some more stuff that she has access to. So passives, if you put nature loving spellblade on her, she gets 20% attack, 20% magic, 30% attack from your gear when dual wielding. So she gets 30% true dual wield is the nickname for that, and then 30% magic from your equipment when dual wielding as well. So she gets 30% true dual wield and 30% true dual wield magic. Very strong in there. And then in addition to that, she gets another passive here, very important. She gets a 1.5 times multiplier increase for her different spell blades of Blazing Threat, Spellblade, Calm Waters, Roaring Thunder, Windstorm, Glittering Light, and then she gets a 2.5 times multiplier on Mage Blade, Superior Mage Blade, okay, Faraja Blade, Waterja Blade, all that fun stuff, and another 1.5 time multiplier on her different formations. So her formations go from 5.5 to 7.0. Still kind of underwhelming here, but the cool one here that we need to take a look at is Mage Blade and Superior Mage Blade. If you don't know what Superior Mage Blade is, it's pretty baller. We'll get to it in a second. And she gets, in addition to that, she gets 20% defense, spirit, and then 25% killer for beasts, humans, and fairies as well. But Superior Mage Blade is a skill that you can unlock by using Mage Blade, right? 6-star skill here, Mage Blade. 7.0 multiplier hybrid attack enables access to Superior Mage Blade for 2 turns. Wasn't really worth it because nowadays 2 turns, it means it unlocks it for the turn you actually use Mage Blade, so you can use Mage Blade the turn afterwards and then it's gone. So you really only get access to it for 1 turn. Tricky wording there. Now, she gets a 2.5 times modifier for Superior Mage Blade. Superior Mage Blade 11.0, so 13.5 multiplier. That's pretty strong. It is non-elemental, so you can make it whatever element you want. Now she gets an enhancement here to Mage Blade eventually, becomes an 8.5 hybrid, and then enables access to Superior Mage Blade for 5 turns. And this is where Kunshira starts to pick up some slack. She starts to be able to be a very strong and potent hybrid damage dealer, very similar to Frivia in the fact that she's going to have access to a very nice multiplier going forward. Okay, then she gets 45% attack and magic equipped with the sword, 45% attack and magic equipped with a rod. That buffs all the way up to 60% with a sword and a rod. So you give her a sword and a rod, she's going to 120% attack and 120% magic. Don't forget she gets true dual wield magic and true dual wield attack as well. And then she gets some nice killers, beasts, humans, and fairies. So Kunshiri goes from becoming not quite good enough to be used a lot to a very potent and very strong hybrid damage dealing unit. She has access to a bunch of different elements. She has access to non-elemental skills with high multipliers that you can turn into whatever element you want based on what weapon you have equipped. So that's Kunshiri. Look forward to her. She's pretty strong. She's pretty cool. Little cat thing. I don't know. Now the next one up is Nyx. Nyx is pretty decent. He was used a lot with the true double hand fixed dice thing back in 6-star meta. He's kind of fallen off a little bit, but he gets some cool and unique skills to help him in the 7-star era. So Firm Resolution, self 140% attack, defense, magic, and spirit buff for 3 turns. That's pretty cool. And then it gives him access to Risky Slash for 1 turn. So you get to use Risky Slash the following turn, and this skill is on a 4-turn cooldown, available on turn 1. We'll get to Risky Slash in a second. So his self buff, that's pretty cool. Not the greatest thing ever. Future and Trust, AoE except for himself, fill everyone's limit burst gauge by 28 limit burst crystals, and then self instant kill 100% death to yourself on a 19-turn cooldown, available on turn 1. So there's a lot of really interesting strategies that you can do with a Nyx on your team due to the fill your whole party's limit burst gauge by 28 crystals. You can throw him into a hokey arena team with 4 Vanilles and a Nyx and just cast 4 AoE deaths on turn 1 in the arena. But you can also do other cool stuff with him. You want to use all your super strong limit bursts? You can do that. Nyx opens up a lot of a variety of strategies based around just Future and Trust. All right, but he also has some other cool stuff. So passive abilities he gets at 7-star. Unshakable Will. This requires his team or Guard of the Future to be equipped. This is his Trust Mastery ability. He gets 30% attack, 30% HP, 2 LB crystals per turn, 40% attack from equipment when dual wielding. All right, so that's 40% true dual wield, and then it enhances his LB to an 8.0 multiplier with 50% ignore defense. So 16.0 multiplier that it dispels all debuffs and status elements and stuff like that to one enemy, and also is an AoE 60% fire resist and peril on enemies as well. That's okay. The cool one here is Warp Prep. This lets him use 2. He gets dual cast for certain skills, so he has Warp Strike, Warp Charge, King's Glaive, and Hero's Pride. King's Glaive and Hero's Pride are his Imperil and his Imbue for fire element. So pretty cool. That's what you use them with the fixed dice true double hand strategy. If that was something that you wanted to do, you would have the ability to imperil your enemy to fire and buff your weapon, add the element of fire to the fixed dice. That lets him do a lot more damage than a lot of other units could do at the time. He gets Hero down here, 20% HP, 40% attack when equipped with a dagger, 50% damage modifier on Warp Strike, Hero's Pride, Warp Charge, King's Glaive, and then 150% damage mod on Desperate Blow. Okay, and then a 20% damage mod on King's Glaive. 150% damage mod on Desperate Blow takes it from, I think it was at a 7.5 times multiplier up to a 9 times multiplier. So this is pretty cool. 9 times multiplier, put a fixed dice on him. Turn 1, you set up, you go on ahead, you imbue your fire element, you imperil your enemy to fire, and then you start spamming Desperate Blows. You're going to do a lot of damage if you're having not even a full true double hand build, but just like a fixed dice on him in general. And then he does get some awakenings eventually. Here we see Risky Slash, 14 times multiplier that loses 99% of your HP. It's okay, but I think with having to spend a whole turn to unlock it, you're better off just spending your first turn imbuing and imperiling, because with enhancements, his breaks go up to 50%. But King's Glaive turns into a 70% fire imperil, which is super awesome. He gets a dagger mastery, but you're putting dice on this boy, you don't really need that. But 70% fire imperil with fire imbue, throw a fixed dice on him, start spamming 9 times 0 multipliers. Pretty cool. You can't dual cast the 9 times multiplier, but he can still hit relatively hard. And put him on your team for the LB gained on your whole party, and then start smacking fools with your dice. Now the next one here, Knight Delita, actually is pretty strong going forward. He's pretty overlooked as a 7-star max. He does get some cool stuff. He gets Raging Inferno I do believe this chains with like Mercenary Ramzo. It's a 10 hit, 6.8 multiplier. Cool there. Remember that Knight Deleta's gotten some global exclusive buffs. He has much higher attack than he does in JP due to some attack percentage changes on the global edition for his enhancements. Now he also has Blade of Creation, which is an AoE 1-hit 4.2 times multiplier. Nothing great there, but it also self-fills his LB gauge by 6 Limit Burst crystals. This is awesome because if you use dual wield, not only does dual wield make you hit twice, but what it does is it makes you use your skill twice. So with dual wield, this is 12 Limit Burst crystals filled every time you use Blade of Creation. Supreme Slayer, AoE 1-hit 8.25 multiplier with an over 50% defense. This turns it into a 17.5 times multiplier. It's a 5-turn cooldown, available on turn 6. So it's something you can use to like try to end the fight, basically. And if you do have dual wield, then you can hit twice with this. Even though it's got a cooldown, whop whop, hit him twice. All right. Blade of Creation, though, keep that in mind. 12 Limit Burst crystals per turn. Now, passive abilities here, he has that 7-star Chaos Bringer. If you have Grand Armor on him, he gets 20% attack, 20% defense, magic, and spirit. It enhances his Limit Burst to a 16 times multiplier physical attack with a 74% attack, defense, and magic debuff. Attack, defense, and magic is no longer attack and magic, it's attack, defense, and magic. So as long as you're not using magic of your own, you're not trying to do damage versus your enemy's spirit, this is almost a full break. As long as you're trying to do physical damage, this might as well just be a full break, 74%. For 3 turns, and it's a 100% lightning imperil for 3 turns as well. So I mentioned Knight Deleta was very, very similar to Lauren and a lot of aspects with his Limit Burst. In the video the other day about 7-star awakenings and Limit Burst to level. But this is why. It's basically, as long as you're doing physical damage, a 74% full break that has 100% lightning imperil. Lauren's does different elements, but not at 100%. So super awesome. Knight Deleta can have a spot in your team. He's got a bunch of different attack buffs in global. He has a new chaining move, and then you can fill his LB up relatively quickly with that 12 LB crystal per turn skill that you use. Just make him a dual wielder every once in a while. Just bop bop, get your break up, get your lightning imbue, get your lightning imperil. Have fun with that. He also gets Manipulator, 50% LB fill rate, and then another 2 LB crystals per turn, and then 20% MP. That's fine. And then he gets War Strider. His last skill he will learn, I think, at level 120. 50% equipment attack when two-handing, but he also gets 30% equipment attack when dual wielding. So he's got true double hand and true dual wield, and then he gets a 1.2 times modifier on Commanding Blade, and then a 1.0 multiplier addition on Strategic Blade, and then another 20% attack. So he's going to be doing a lot of work for a lot of people, I think. Don't be upset if you pull a Knight Deleta or 2. I think you're going to be doing just fine when his Awakening comes out to 7-star in global. Now, one other one. Ooh, we have Lightning. Lightning made the list. One of the most often hated on units in the game. Lightning, she should be in Batch 1. I'd be surprised if she wasn't. Lightning was really weak in the 6-star meta after she came out because she just got outclassed. You know, Chainers came out, all that fun stuff. She used to hit relatively hard, and I cry a little bit because her multipliers are 1.8 and 2.7. And I remember bodying dudes with Lightning, but no more. So what does she get at 7-star that makes her usable? So she gets these 2 skills here at 7-star: Lightning Clash and Endless Drive. All right, Lightning Clash is a cooldown skill. It's a single target 3-hit, 11 times multiplier physical attack on a 1-turn cooldown, available turn 2. So it's a 1-turn cooldown, so you should be able to spam this if you want. You can't chain with it though, sadly. But then she also gets Endless Drive, which is not a cooldown skill. It will give her self buff, 150% attack, defense, magic, and spirit for 3 turns. And in addition to that, it's also a 12-hit, 7.2 times multiplier physical attack. So if you've been scourged by a couple of lightnings and you really can't get in your hands onto any other 7-stars coming out, don't worry. This is going to be very serviceable for you. She's going to be able to do things that you didn't think you're going to be able to do. If you didn't have like a super good 6-star chainer or anything like that, 5-star base chainer, you got a couple lightnings, maybe you pulled one and you got one from the rookie quest rewards, you can give her a dual wield. She has native dual wield still. She has a nice chaining move. She has a chain finishing move. She still has access to lightning, imperil, all that fun stuff. Now she also has some 7-star passives down here. This does require Aurora Scarf. So keep that in mind. Her Aurora Scarf's not a very good TMR, but it does give her, if you have Aurora Scarf equipped to her, she gets 80% attack, a 2.0 multiplier increase on Crushing Blow, and 30% equipment attack. So she gets 30% true dual wield and 80% attack buff. That basically just means like, yeah, Aurora Scarf really sucks, but putting Aurora Scarf on her basically means Aurora Scarf reads 80% attack, 2 times multiplier increase on Crushing Blow, and 30% true dual wield. That seems pretty strong to me. She gets 20% MP, and then she gets Brand of the LAKEY as her last passive here. 20% defense, spirit, HP, and then 20% attack when equipped with a sword, 20% attack when equipped with a gun, and that 2.4 times multiplier on Blitz, Electric Blitz, Ice Blitz, Heat Blitz, and Arrow Blitz. Not too great there. It does give her some nice AoE though, but maybe if you put like a Sparky and then a non-elemental sword on her, get the dual wield going on, you get that lightning weapon, Crushing Blows buffed with Aurora Scarf, you'd be attacking a bunch. All right, and then don't forget with her enhancements, Crushing Blows at 3.5 multiplier, 75% lightning and peril. So she will have 75% lightning and peril, and it will be like a 5.5 times multiplier, I do believe. And then so you'll just use that, put your lightning and peril up, and just start hitting dudes with your 7.2 or 11 times multipliers, whether you want to chain or chain finish dual wield with her. So often overlooked unit, but she can do a lot of stuff for you. She will allow you to transition into 7-star chainers, super high stats. As long as you can chain with a unit, it's going to be doing lots of work for you. So the last one here we have today is Rem. I've been trying to say how good Rem is as a 7-star unit for a while. She's really nice. She's often overlooked for Ayaka or CG Fina or maybe Yuna. But Rem does a lot of stuff for you, and she's got a lot of utility that other units like Ayaka, CG Fina, and Yuna don't have really a great amount of access to. And then Rem also has Magic Boomerang and some global exclusive buffs that make her even stronger than she should be as a 7-star unit. So as you can see, she gets a nice plethora of skills here. So her first skill here is a single target 9-hit 6.4 magic attack with a single target 60% spirit break as well. She's got a spirit break on your healer, 6.4 magic attack. That's okay. So 6% spirit break, awesome. If you're using magic, great. You have Rem on your team, you're probably using Magic Boomerang if you want. So you have a Magic Boomerang breaker. Oh my goodness. All right. So 7-star skill here, 96 MP AoE, auto revive, 80% HP for 3 turns. So she's got AoE auto revive with AoE 20% damage mitigation for 3 turns, and then an AoE 100% defense and spirit buff for 3 turns on a 5-turn cooldown, available turn 1. So 100% defense spirit buff, 80% auto life, and a 20% damage reduction all in one skill. Okay, it only lasts 3 turns and it has a 5-turn cooldown, so you can't have full uptime on this, but this is basically kind of like a limit burst on demand, right? AoE buffs, damage reduction, auto revive on demand whenever you want it for 96 MP, as long as you haven't used it in the past 4 or 5 turns. So that's awesome skill to have there. That's some insane utility. And then we have this skill here, AoE recover 180 MP to everyone, including herself. This skill has no MP cost, but it costs half of her limit burst gauge. Okay, that's why when I was talking about the best sorts of daggers to enhance for item world, I mentioned Rem's dagger with LB fill rate on it of 100% with high tide. If you haven't checked that video out, check it out in the playlist section. We're getting item world real soon. But yes, your healer can recover a bunch of MP, 180 per turn, insane. And then she has access to this, fill 10 summon grade crystals, orbs, whatever you want to call them. That's a full summon meter from 0 to 100. All that happens is she insta-kills herself. It's a 3-turn cooldown, but you can use it on turn 1. You can put auto revive on her and then fill your summon gauge up. You can basically summon whatever Esper you want, whenever you want, with very little downside. She kills herself. Death is only a means to an end in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. Come on, guys. Come on, you know this. You can even use this. Use this skill, and then use this skill, and then use this skill. Easy, all right? Okay, so 7-star trustability here requires her TMR love. It gives her 30% magic, 30% spirit, and then a 50% chance to counter physical attacks with healing prayer, a 1000 HP heal with a 3.4 times modifier, and then AoE Asuna, I do believe is what it is there, AoE Cure All. I think this is going to proc one time. It's pretty good, it's alright. Some additional healing whenever a fixed attack that you can't really cover goes out and she gets hit with physical damage or something like that. Heal your team up, super awesome there. 20% defense, and then 20% HP MP, and then another 30% magic and spirit when equipped with a dagger there. Magic though, she does gain some new stuff. She gets access to Kiraja, Yaka CG Fina level Kiraja, so she's going to be able to do the big boy heals. And then Tornado and Quake, so she can chain with your Tornado users, your Quake users, whenever you decide you need to. You can like Tornado and then maybe like Blizzaga with her buffs or something, with her enhancements. So something like that, pretty cool. It's very serviceable. She has unique utility. She has access to Kiraja, a bunch of different MP heals, Esper gauge fill to max. Super awesome. Don't feel bad if you're wondering if Rem's going to be a good enough healer for you. The only thing she really can't do that a lot of the other healers can do is she can't dual cast re-raise. Okay, that's the only thing she really can't do, because her re-raise is a skill. She won't be able to dual cast it, but she's going to be like a jack of all trades, almost master of all trades. She's going to have a spirit break. She'll be able to do damage with magic boomerang. She'll be able to heal. She can counter heal. She can full life. Basically, after enhancement, she can Undying Wish for re-raise. She has MP healing. She can fill your Esper gauge, damage reduction. Basically, anything that you want to be able to do, she can almost do. All right, so look forward to her when she comes out. And this is what I wanted to get across. You know, a couple of underrated units that will have 7-star forms. If you don't have like top tier meta units, don't worry. If you have a couple of these are more than enough to get you through months and months and months of content as the 7-star system does roll out into the global version of FFBE, because the content is not actually going to be based around a full team of 7-stars. It's going to be based around you having like 1, maybe 2, counting your friend, in 7-star units, and you can be able to do it like that. So if you found this stuff useful, you want to see more of it, go ahead and hit the sub button. Make sure you turn your notification system on so you can watch the content. Let YouTube know that you care enough to watch it, because apparently subscribing is not enough anymore. And then if you want to see previous content, playlist section, go check out Item World and all that fun stuff, and other 7-stars that you want to level up with and get their limit burst maxed out in preparation for this new 3.0 7-star meta. With that said, thank you guys for your support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.